Hello and welcome to the CosmoParenting Podcast, brought to you by the CMM Institute for Personal and Social Evolution. In this space, we invite you to see yourself as someone who is curious about and actively participating in creating your own meaning around parenting. This is our Animate episode, where we offer some strategies to integrate into parenting so you can bring to life the things we talk about here on the podcast. Let's begin. Today, I am joined by gifted educator Stephanie Higgs to offer a best practice from a teacher's perspective. Hi, Stephanie.
Hey, Abbie.
So, Stephanie, the idea for these episodes came from you. So, can you tell us a little bit about your work as a gifted educator and specifically about the idea of pre-teaching and really what we're hoping to do in this episode today?
Sure, Abbie. So, as a gifted educator, I work with neurodivergent students from pre-K through fifth grade on both academic and social emotional concepts. The idea of pre-teaching involves explicit training and teaching on a variety of strategies as we hope to help children build, develop, and refine a tool belt that's filled with resources they can pull from in a variety of situations.
Okay, cool. So, could you share an example of pre-teaching with us from your classroom?
Absolutely. So let's think about the time of the day when students may feel overstimulated or recess. Energy and emotions are running high, and conflict may be likely to occur. So, in moments like this, it can be difficult to try and teach life lessons because kids are often already upset or dysregulated. Instead, pre teaching means that we are hypothesizing through imagined, likely, real world experiences, but in a neutral setting. This way, when similar instances occur in the child's life, they have access to some tools and strategies that they can employ in real time. It's a strategy we use in the classroom, but it also works for our purposes here too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because it's not just kids that get activated and dysregulated, right? All of us experience moments where we aren't thinking straight or acting how we'd really like to be acting. So I'm really glad we're using the idea of pre-teaching here, following those same principles you just talked about, that by learning these strategies now, we have a better chance of actually accessing them in an activated moment. So our theme this month is stories. What is the strategy that you're pre-teaching today?
Today, we're pre teaching a useful strategy called Notice and Wonder. It's a simple format that helps people of any age frame and understand a variety of concepts. It involves asking yourself two questions. First, what are you noticing? And second, what are you wondering? This allows you to take some time to feel attunement and develop an awareness of your observations. Then it's time to act on what you notice and wonder. An example would be your child gets in the car after school and indicates that they experienced a conflict at recess that day. You ask the kid to walk you through what happened. After engaging in the practice of deep listening, you, as the caregiver, state what you notice in the story. Maybe you call out how you notice that your child used a skill that you've worked on with them, or that this is a pattern of behavior. After some reciprocal conversation with the child, you move into the second piece of this strategy, which involves unanswered questions. Perhaps you're curious about how this made your child feel or how your child chose to problem solve in the moment. You share some of your I wonder statements, which allows for self reflection on the part of the child. Then, if it's appropriate, you can provide some coaching or words of affirmation and how the situation was handled. For example, if your child says, I was so embarrassed, I ran and hid until recess was over, or I was so angry, I punched her, we might want to think together about some different ways to handle a similar event in the future. Connection really requires us to explore a deeper level of understanding. A great way to do that is to vocalize some questions, curiosities, or wonderings in relationships. So, I would invite you to think about this strategy the next time someone is sharing a story or a lived experience with you. It's as simple as listening deeply, followed by expressing or sharing what you notice and what you wonder.
This is such a great strategy to implement in parenting, but also, like you're saying here, in any and all of our relationships, we can notice what's happening and wonder through curiosity and questioning how the other person is thinking and feeling about the situation. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me today. Why don't you tell people where else they can connect with you?
Absolutely. I share tons of ideas for teachers and parents. If you are on Instagram, you can find me at Little Miss Gifted, and I would absolutely love to connect with you there.
Awesome. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us as well. I'll also point you, in addition to checking out Stephanie's Instagram, to check out our other Cosmo activities and additional resources at www.cosmoactivities.com. We're so grateful to be on this journey with all of you, and we'll see you next week for the final episode of the month, where we will talk communication on the theme of stories.